Thank you very much. It's a great honor to be here today. After a long time, we get a chance to meet each other. And first, I want to thank German Microfinance Platform for organizing this meeting and inviting me to be here. It was said I will address. It's not really address in that sense. It's not a formal academic or formal address. It's more of friends getting together and kind of briefing you, updating you what's going on. And I'm very honored, very happy today because I see Dr. Karl Osner in the audience. He has a great history with us and the tremendous amount of impact he has made on our work in Grameen Bank. Our relationship goes way back, something like 30 years. We are just a small organization. Somehow we were noticed by someone from Germany. We didn't know at that time what his position was and how important he was, but gradually we discover how important he was in the whole government of Germany. But we're amazed by the overlap between what we are trying to do and what he is looking for. That amazing overlap kind of encouraged us, inspired us, that for most people it looked very silly what we did. It looked very important to him. So that gives us a lot of confidence to us. And his idea of exposure and dialogue program, which he passionately pursued, impacted us tremendously in our way of working, being with the poor, learning from them, and trying to do things that we did. So I'm very happy to see Dr. Karl Osner here after a long time. And also another person in the audience is Professor Pinger. Again, relationship goes way back. As a parliament member, as a Bundestag member, he came to Bangladesh to visit Grameen Bank and went to the villages and meet people after people and became a passionate advocate of what we do. So the support that we get from Germany from then on was beyond anybody else have supported us, not only financially, which was a pretty large amount, but philosophically, emotionally, as a friend, the kind of support we got. So I'm very happy to be back again in Germany to report where we are right now. I'll just briefly mention the state of affairs with us. We work all over Bangladesh for a long time now. Every single village there is in Bangladesh, we are present there. We have 8.3 million borrowers, 97% women. And the special feature of Grameen Bank, sometimes we lose sight of that, that it is owned by the borrowers. It's not a bank which somebody else borrows. It's not a bank where government owns it. It's nothing like that. The borrowers become the owners of the bank. So we have 8.3 million owners of this bank. And as I said, it's mostly women. So it's the only bank in the world which is owned by women, and particularly poor women. And it works beautifully. We have no problem in terms of the kind of things we wanted to achieve. It's a slow process. It's not a fast track that you can change everything, but it takes, in a slow motion, it goes and it transforms people's life. And I will not go into the details of how those things happen, but the idea of opening up people's mind, that was the first thing. That is not money for making money for you, which is important, but it opens up your mind. You see things differently than you did before. You are not dependent. You are not at the mercy of other people. You are at the driver's seat of your own life. And that is a very significant departure from the traditional life that you have gone through. That I can decide what I want to do, and I can fight it out. That little money gives this message loud and clear, and it opens you up, open inside, that you start discovering yourself It is an exploratory process. It's a process of exploration, self-exploration. You are amazed by the capacity you have inside of yourself. People always critical in the beginning. They were more critical, saying that how can you give money to the poor people? They don't know how to handle money, which is true. But once you do that, they start learning that very fast. And that is the example that millions of times that we have seen all over the world. And as a result, I kept insisting that all human beings are entrepreneurs. Because people say, how can you start a business? She's not an entrepreneur. So I have to keep on insisting that all human beings are entrepreneurs with no exception. Only we have changed the society in our way, the way we thought in a limited way, made rest of the people as a kind of job workers rather than entrepreneurs. Is something that we have pushed back inside of them rather than help them bring it out. So what we did, we tried to bring it to the forefront. And every time you are paying one installment of this loan, you are discovering a little bit of yourself that you can make it. You can move forward by yourself. The system that we built, I tried to explain the kind of system. I said it's easy to describe what kind of system we are. It's not banking or a traditional banking lending tiny little money to the poor people. If you think that is a few steps down from the traditional banking, then you are not looking at the Grameen Bank in a proper way. I said we made our rules and procedures in a way that it makes sense to us, but we didn't do any research in doing that. I said that we made our life very simple. Whenever we needed a little rule, little procedure, we just look at the conventional banks, how they do it. Once we learn how they do it, we just do the opposite. And it worked beautifully. And you can almost see that at every step that we do. Conventional banks go to the rich, we go to the poor. Conventional banks want to stay at the city center, we went to the remote villages. Conventional banks want the customers to come to their premises, we said we come to your premises. We made our principle that people should not go to the bank should go to the people. And we still believe in it. And whenever you hear about microcredit, this is what it is. They go to the people, serve the people at their doorstep. If somebody is not doing that, they are different than what we are talking about microcredit. And that creates all the confusion when we hear about that. And microcredit is for income generating activity. That's also very important distinguishing feature. Conventional banks want collateral. We said forget about collateral. So we have no collateral whatsoever. So no paperwork for the lawyers. And we don't have lawyers. This is another good thing about it. This is only one bank perhaps, which is a lawyer-free bank. We don't need it. And it works beautifully. It's based on trust, and trust works beautifully. People say, hey, this will collapse someday. From the very first day, we were warned again and again, this is going to collapse. I said, until that day, we'll keep on working. When it collapses, what can I do? But we will not give up just because someday it will collapse. It never collapsed. It flourished. It continued. So you can go on and on. Conventional banks owned by the rich, we are owned by the poor. Mostly conventional banks are owned by rich men, we are owned by poor women. So you can see that it's not just simply tiny loans. It's a whole package which comes in a kind of contrast of the way that you do things. We were told the poor are dissavers. That's how we learned in our economics. Poor dissave, only the rich save. We reversed that. We said, no, poor save. We said, even a tiny little money, even if a penny that you can save every week, please bring your penny and put in your bank. And that was a system that we built from day one. Everybody saves a tiny, tiny little money in their own savings account. Today, after all these years, total money they have in their savings account, entire Grameen Bank, as a balance, is nearly $1 billion. So people talk about how much we lend money. They don't see how much they save in the bank. It's not only their bank, they save in the bank. 56% of our deposits come from the borrower's savings. It's no small piece. We lend out over $1.5 billion. It's all our depositors' money. And a bulk of their deposits come from the borrowers. We have many, many branches. We have 2,600 branches. More than 500 branches we have where the the borrower's savings is far larger than the total loan they have taken themselves. So in practice, they are not the borrowers. They are the lenders to the bank, because we have more money than we gave it to them. So this is the kind of relationship. So we confuse that it's a huge big bank comes as a mercy, give little loans to the poor people. And that's not it. It is their bank. They have more deposits in the bank. Even when you look at the other branches, which are not among those 500 plus branches, most of the branches have more than 75% or more in deposits of the loan they have taken. So it's not that I have empty hand, empty account, and you give me the loan. So this is how we built it up. And then we wanted to focus on the children of Grameen Bank, because we saw the capacity of these illiterate women will not take them very far. We keep seeing that. So we introduced the idea that we should we should all send our children to school. And it became a campaign in Grameen Bank. And we succeeded in having 100% of the children in school. This is an accomplishment, because at that time, if you are poor, you don't send your children to school. We tried to change that mindset. They said, well, he can work or she can work at home, get some money, or make our life easier. We said, no, it's much better to send your children to school. Since mothers are our borrowers, they understood it very quickly. And they started sending their children to school. It became such a successful program, they continued in school. Then they started coming into the universities, colleges, and so on. But they don't have the money. They need money when they have to come to higher school education. So we introduced education loan. And now thousands and thousands of students are in higher education. Right now, there are 52,000 students in medical schools, engineering schools, and universities, and all this higher education and learning. So it's no longer the same qualities of life for the second generation people than the first generation. So you have amazing contrast between the mother and the daughter. They look alike, but if you talk to her a little bit, she will tell you that she's a doctor. She runs a clinic in some other city, but she's just visiting her mother. So there you see that. But they look alike, but the difference is completely, suddenly surprise you. And you almost keep on thinking, her mother could have been a doctor too. There's nothing wrong with her mother. But she remained illiterate, she remained poor, and nobody gave her a chance. Her daughter got some chance. She went to school and got this education loan from Grameen Bank. She became a doctor. So you come back to the question, what is poverty? Is poverty inside the person, or poverty is imposed on the person? The answer is very clear. Every time you see the poverty in a close range, you see poor do not create poverty. Poverty is created by the system that we have built for ourselves, and they are the victims of it. Poverty is imposed from outside, not created from inside. So if it is imposed from outside, we have every chance to remove it and create a world where nobody will be a poor person. I keep on insisting that poverty should be in the museums, not in civilized human society. It's a disgrace for a human being to accept poverty. I give the example of bonsai tree. I said poverty is like bonsai tree. You take the best seed of the tallest tree and put in a flower pot. You get the bonsai. It doesn't grow very far. It grows this much. And you wonder what happened to this tree. Why doesn't it grow? Explanation is simple. We didn't give enough space to let it grow. There is nothing wrong with the seed. And I keep reminding people that poor people are bonsai people. There's nothing wrong with their seed. Simply, society never gave them the space so that they can grow as tall as other people. So it's our responsibility to create that space. And that space can be done. And the Grameen is an example of that space, a modest example that, yes, Give them a chance. You are not giving a charity. You just gave an opportunity. What happens? She starts building her self-confidence and it starts doing what she needs to do. And her children gets the benefit of it. Her children becomes totally different. Second generation can be absolutely different when the first generation is. So it's not a one generation problem. People say, microcredit is not working. I said, I don't know what you are looking at. If you look at their savings, you won't say microcredit is not working. After all, they got $1 billion. I even joke with the companies in Bangladesh. I said, don't ignore these poor women that you see. They can buy up your company anytime. They have the ready cash in their hand. All they have to do, make a decision, I'm going to buy it up. And they can buy it up because they have the money. So they are not kind of powerless people. People say that, well, you talk about entrepreneurial ability. Not everybody has entrepreneurial ability. I said, of course they have entrepreneurial ability. In order to demonstrate what I did, I started a new program to give loans to the beggars. I said, you cannot be poorer than beggars. Their life depends on everybody else's mercy. They beg around all day to find some food in the evening. So I said, let's concentrate on the beggars in this program. So we went to the beggars, explained to them what we want to do, gave them a simple idea. The idea is, as you go from house to house begging for food, for money, so that you can survive for the day, we told them that, would you like to carry something to sell? Some cookies, some candies, some toys for the kids. So you have two things to sell. One, beg, as usual. Or ask people if they want to buy something from you. People may choose one or the other. Or they can choose both. Give you something free, some food, as they do all the time, and also bought something from you. That opens up a possibility for you. People loved it. We started giving the money. Said, how much money do you need? Typical loan for a beggar is somewhere around $12. And they start selling this stuff. And as it sells, they get very excited. We thought maybe there will be 1,000 or 2,000 beggars in our program. Very quickly, we had more than 100,000 beggars. And we didn't know what's going to happen. But people are getting more and more excited. Now, after 4 years, we introduced this program. More than 20,000 beggars quit begging completely because they became so successful in doing that. The remaining beggars are working towards coming out of begging step by step. When my colleagues get very impatient, why are they taking so much time? Others came out. I said, don't push them. Begging is their core business. You don't want to close down your core business until we have full confidence in the new business. So they are trying it out, which one to do. So wait for their chance. They have to feel the sales division is doing well. And then they will make the decision. And this is what will happen. So all I'm saying, we didn't train them. People ask, do you train them? How much training did I say? I never trained them. We simply said, this is what you can do. And people responded to it. They figured out which one sells better. They started with one, moved to another one because people were asking for that kind of stuff. So some of them became very efficient door-to-door salesperson and a shopping agent. We didn't think about the shopping agent because women will say, can you bring me this, this, this? Give you a list. Next day she brings it. She gets paid, gets her commission or whatever she got. Because women don't go to the market, but they cannot go to the market. So she facilitated that. So this is the kind of thing. As we went on, we added many other companies because I started creating company after company. Every time I see a problem, I try to respond to that problem by creating a company, creating a business to solve the problem. Like we created a company, energy company, call it Gramin Shakti or Gramin Energy. The idea is to bring solar energy in the villages of Bangladesh. Bangladesh is one of those unfortunate countries where do not have electricity. 70% of the people of Bangladesh don't have electricity. So we thought that gives us at least another opportunity to bring renewable energy before the fossil fuel energy takes over. So we started this company to sell solar energy through building solar home system, simple solar home system. In the beginning, it was extremely difficult to convince people. They never heard of these things. They thought we are some kind of con man trying to make money by selling something which will not work after a while. So we try to assure them, look, we are Grameen. At least Grameen name assures them that they don't kind of fool you. They give whatever they promise. So we started doing that. It took a lot of hard work to sell even 5 solar home systems per month. But we didn't give up. We wanted to someday, as a kind of dream figure, to sell 100 solar systems per month. And we did it finally, after long, hard work. Today, we came to a stage, after 15 years, we sell more than 1,000 solar home systems per day. And it's flourishing. Everybody wants it because they see the benefit in it, and people got used to it. So this is what it is. We did it in a business way, but we never wanted to make money for anybody. So we said, while we're doing this company, maybe there's some kind of company which is missing out. We need that kind of company. The company which is designed to solve problems rather than make profit for anybody. We did the Grameen Bank that way. We did the solar energy that way. And we did many other companies, I'm not mentioning all of them, that way. And we started calling them social business. Non-loss, non-dividend company to solve the problem. Once you delink yourself from the personal profit, suddenly whole new horizon opens up, which you never saw before. Because profit blinds us in a certain direction. But the moment you remove that profit part, suddenly you see this technology, this experience can be directed in a certain way to change the world. So we have been doing that. And many responses we are coming. Many of the German companies are having joint ventures with us. One of them is BSF. We have a joint venture with BSF as a social business. BSF doesn't want to take any profit out of this company. This is a company to solve the problem of malaria, to produce mosquito nets in Bangladesh and make it very cheap so that everybody can afford it. And Reebok has been doing that with us to produce shoes very cheap, less than €1, so that nobody goes barefoot and suffers the problem of parasitic diseases and so on because of the barefoot. So we are trying to create those businesses one after another, water company, malnutrition solving company, company for sanitary napkins for women in the villages in collaboration with, in joint venture with Uniqlo of Japan. So this is a whole range of new opportunities coming up. And this is being taught in the universities, German universities teaching, French universities teaching, British universities are teaching the courses on social business. So the whole business school now has 2 kinds of businesses at their hand. Business to make money and business to solve problems and make a better world. So this is the kind of thing that we are seeing that a possibility exists in transforming the conceptual framework that we have. When the financial crisis came, everybody was telling us, why is this financial crisis here? How do you get out of it? I kept reminding that don't try to get out of it right away. People get very disappointed when I say that. I said financial crisis is a wake-up call. You don't want to, if you want to fix it with a kind of quick fix, you are not waking up. You want to go back to your sleep. It's not the time to go back to sleep. It's the time to work hard so that these problems are fundamentally cured. It never comes up again. If you go back to sleep, it will come back again very soon, and in a big way, it will come back. So this is the kind of thing that we have to notice, how to change that. I said, look at the financial system itself. I have been talking about it years and years, that financial system is wrong. It's always focused on the rich and the big corporations. It's not addressing the need of the people. And the bulk of the population of the world is kept outside the scope of the financial system. How do you address that? Why don't you make this is the occasion to redesign the financial system so that it becomes an inclusive system. And you can do that. Redesign the whole business idea. You continue with the world which is a profit-making world, but you give no room to another kind of business because textbooks do not have that. I said, all you have to do, create a space in the textbook. Create a space in the conceptual structure, that there is another business called social business, business to change world, business to change the life of the people. And people will respond to it. Human beings are not one-dimensional beings. Human beings are not money-making machines. Human beings are multidimensional beings. They want to make money, which is okay, but they also want to use the money to do things which will make a lasting impact on the world. Young people love it. They want to see how to use the idea of social business. Many universities holding social business competitions so that young people can come out with the different ideas of social business design so that you can apply this and solve the problem. So while on the social business, let me go back a little bit on the microfinance part again. Recently, lots of questions came into the media about the Indian situation where microfinance came into attack by people, by the media, and so on. And many people ask me, what is it? Why the microfinance is falling apart in India? First thing I try to clarify to them, this is not the situation in India. This is a situation in one state of India, Andhra Pradesh. So don't get mixed up with Andhra Pradesh with the whole country of India. India is a big country, Andhra Pradesh is only one state. There are problems in Andhra Pradesh, but you don't think every other state is falling apart. Andhra Pradesh problem was slightly different because it took the lead in microfinance. Very active people got involved with it, but gradually they wanted to expand it very fast. As the over-speeding became a big problem for them. And then Andhra Pradesh has almost 1/3 of the total of microcredit in India. So this is concentrated in Andhra Pradesh. So they have the problem of overlapping or overcrowding. Everybody wants to expand the number of the borrowers, so they are taking away each other's borrower to give them more loan, give everything. And then they came up with one particular thing which created the big problem. They want to tell the investors who are from outside, since they cannot generate money for themselves by law, so they have to go for external investors, telling them this is a great opportunity. You can lend money to the poor people, they benefit, and you make a lot of money. I said that was a wrong message. Microcredit is not a case where you make money for yourself. It's not presenting poor people as an opportunity to make money by the rich people. It's an opportunity to help poor people get out of poverty. So that distinction has to be made. In order to achieve their goal, they kind of overstated their mission, saying that you can make a lot of money. And they got into IPOs, and that created other followers of IPOs. And that created all the problem. Politicians got into the picture. But India responded very coolly, very sanely. They came up with the analysis. Central government put a commission, and that commission came out with an excellent report. And now the central bank, RBI, Reserve Bank of India, is taking steps in implementing that. And they put a cap on the interest rate, 24%, and many other things, how to make interest rate as a transparent thing rather than something confusing, you don't know who is charging what. So there are some rules and norms being established. I would say this is the best thing to do, and gradually it will come. So these are operational issues. This is not conceptual issues. Operationally, things got clogged up and something happened of that nature. So to say that microcredit has failed in India, I think that will be a kind of misstatement. Because even if it fails any country, not India, any country, it's not because people were wrong, people didn't do it right, or its country is not appropriate. It's not that. You simply didn't know how to do that. We were challenged to do it in the United States because I've been telling them, they keep telling me that they have tried, it doesn't work in the United States. I keep insisting that you didn't do it right, that's why it didn't work. Don't blame the people or country. They said, no, this is not true. Americans are different. This is a different kind of economy. It will not work. I said, why didn't you ask us to come and do it? Let us do it if you want me to do that. So they asked us to do it. So we sent our staff, created an organization called Grameen America, and set up the program in New York City in January of 2008. And now, by now, we have 4 branches. We have over 6,000 borrowers. Repayment is 99.3% today, always over 99%. No collateral, nothing, exactly the way we do it in Bangladesh. We have not changed anything, and they're all women. Now there's demand in other cities. 2 years before, we were invited and persuaded to go to Omaha, Nebraska. So we opened a branch in Omaha, Nebraska. And it's 2 years old and doing excellent. They have more than 1,000 borrowers. We opened a branch in Indianapolis because we are invited to do that. So we have the 6th branch in Indianapolis. We are invited to do it in San Francisco and Detroit this year. So again, we don't feel embarrassed or we don't feel scared. We brought people from Bangladesh to do it. So why do you bring people from Bangladesh? I said, they know, they have experience and don't know the procedure. So immediately, instead of trying to train your people for years before they do that, this is much easier. They will be training the local people, they will run it. So every time, all we do is just bring one branch manager from Bangladesh, and he trains up the people there, and they move it. So it's not the question that it's something wrong with the concept. Operational difficulties, yes. Absence of regulatory procedure, yes. Absence of legal design is yes. These are the places that we have to work. Why don't we create a legal home for bank for the poor? We have the legislation, we have the law for creating bank for the rich all over the world. But we have not created a law for the bank for the poor. Grameen Bank works because Bangladesh has a law specially for this bank to create Grameen Bank. It's a special law. It's not the banking law that Bangladesh has. So these are the items that we have to do. Ultimately, the idea is today we have enormous energy, we have enormous creativity, and young people has fantastic creativity for themselves. We can bring this creativity together to address all the problems that we see in front of us. Human creativity is so much bigger than the total problem put together. It's a question of using that creativity to solve those problems, to direct this creativity in that direction. Once we do that, we can overcome the problems that we have at our disposal. Thank you very much.